Okay, welcome to the official day one 2014 Motul Sa Harvest Vintage. Alright, today, pretty good day, really interesting back-breaking work, pretty hard yakka, bent over double, picking grapes, interesting story behind it as well. Just quickly saw two different types of vine management today. The first half, or the first part, was more of a traditional, something that's been done by the previous head winemaker for the last, I'd say 30 years, 40 years or something like that. That involves growing the grapes really close to the ground. The trade-off is, okay, I'm 6'3", but I was pretty much on my knees or bent over for the majority of the day. After about 4 or 5 hours, obviously my back was a bit sore. Just body conditioning, really haven't done it, haven't done it ever. So take a few days to adjust to it. The second was more of a trained method by the young winemaker here, who's got quite a wine education. So the vines are a lot higher off of the ground, therefore a lot easier to hand harvest. So that's the theory behind it. It's a lot easier to hand harvest. It opens up the possibilities of machine harvesting also, if A, he can afford it for this vintage, and B, if he can get a time slot. They're all factors that contribute to whether it's possible or not. But the con, or the negative factor of that versus the old traditional method is there's a lot more foliage and a lot more vine leaves, vines, and obviously all wood thrown into the middle of the rows, which need to be cleaned and cleared, and then obviously taken and chucked out somewhere, or used as fill, or whatever they want to do with it. So that's essentially the trade-off. After today's effort, I'd be trading that off, because the thought of doing that for 2 weeks was good. It was interesting. I mean, no, it was hard work, but I didn't mind it. It was good, but it would still be pretty tough to do that for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending on how big the place is. Some other cool points today. Got a really good close inspection of what they slang call here vinegar rot. So half the bunch was green, and the other half was literally smelling like vinegar. All we had to do is break the skins of the grapes that were almost I'd say almost a grey to yellow colour. I'm going to try and get some footage of this. So I saw that. That was really good to smelt it. Pure vinegar, really interesting. And also saw botrytis, and then tasted both as well. So you just eat the grapes, and yeah, it was really interesting. It was good to get a good feel as to as the process. And essentially what they do is, the whole point of today was pre-selection. So we were cutting off rotting bunches and or small bad, or what didn't make the grade bunches, and that was going to be processed. So upon peeking off, like clipping off a rotten, or half, it's not all rotten, it's more like half, 3/4, a quarter, pull that off. If it's vinegar rot, cut that off, leave it on the ground, chuck the other stuff in the bucket ready to be chucked into the crusher. So yeah, so that was pretty interesting. With the botrytis, however, it was just pretty much pick it straight into the crusher. So obviously weren't really concerned about that versus vinegar rot, but the vinegar rot was pretty disgusting. Yeah, so that was pretty good. The other interesting thing was, we looked at 2 different vineyard sites today. So one was probably about 3 meters, 4 meters higher than the other. So the first one had a lot of botrytis, had a lot of rot, like a lot. I mean, I'd probably venture to say, if you're getting about 30 bunches, maybe 10 of those would be left on to ripen further, and to the acid, to decrease the acid and raise the sugar levels. The rest was just been, we were taking it. The other vineyard, which was slightly higher, there was hardly any rot, so it was pretty much the reverse. Like, so we took a lot less. It was more, yeah, it was pretty much the reverse. But a different clone of Riesling. I haven't actually got the data yet because there's a bit of a lost in translation thing going on here, which is fine, and I'll get to the bottom of it. But yeah, so different clone. Yeah, that's pretty much the. So I asked a question. I was like, well, why is this? And it was like different clones, so not susceptible to rot, but not as susceptible to botrytis. So most of the rot that we got on the top, the higher vineyard, was the vinegar rot, where on the other vineyard was more botrytis. So interesting point. I don't know if you can see, but bloody got something in my eye. I don't know what it was. I don't know if something splashed in my eye, if I've got bloody vinegar rot from picking the grapes and accidentally rubbed my eye or something. I don't know. So we'll get down to get some eye drops. We also processed it, so I didn't really mention much of this yesterday. So really quickly, processed the load today, which was awesome. That's the funnest part. The fun part. Bad part's picking. Although you really do get to select exactly what you want. But got back, the stuff goes straight into the process straight away. It's awesome. He's got a crusher that sits on the back of his tractor, not very big. We hooked all the pumps up and it goes straight into the press, and then bang, straight away you just get a real stemmy, grapey smell. It's very pungent, and it's really intense. The colour of the grapes, of the grape juice as well, was very, it's green, it's very muddy, and I guess it is stemmy. Stemmy is the main descriptor that I'd use to describe all of that. Very stemmy. So what we did was we actually tasted yesterday or last night's juice after it had settled a little bit, which was really interesting, because from what I remember yesterday, it was very, it wasn't very good. It was quite, it was very rotten and it was quite bruised. So it had settled quite a bit, and they'd added some stuff to it to kind of salvage what they were trying to get. And so yeah, so tomorrow we'll get to have a look at both of these now after about 2 days. They've also got a Müller Thurgau brewing away, fermenting away. It's been going since the 21st, and I've had a look at that 2 days in a row now, and it has changed immensely. It's dropped down from about 66, the potential alcohol of about, start again. It's dropped from about 9% of alcohol left in the vat to now today to about 4, so it's almost finished. And it's really interesting. It's their entry level stuff. They're not really too keen on that. It's almost finished. It's looking like he's happy. He's managed to salvage something from it. So yes, I'm going to get to see how these Rieslings that we picked today turn out in the next few weeks and how they develop. So that's pretty much it from me. Officially day 1, but I guess yesterday was day 0. Today day 1. Yeah, and went to a pub for dinner, or late tea, not dinner, not sit down dinner, just a rush tea. Couple of jars, which was pretty nice to end the day on, and had a pork schnitzel. I haven't had schnitzel in about 2 years since I've been back in Australia, so it was really it was good to get it's good to have schnitzel. I wasn't really expecting it to come out like it did, but I had it covered in carbonara sauce, which is something I've not done before, and something I would do again most certainly, because it was yum. I don't know if that was the fact that I was just absolutely starving, but really nice, and beers went down a treat. Anyway, I've talked enough for one night for day 1. Footage is on its way. I keep saying that, but it will be here, and you'll get to see some of this stuff firsthand, and I'll just talk over it, and you hear my boring voice go over it. So yeah, good night.